Hello everyone. Today we're going to answer a very interesting question, which is, are high-tax countries better? And I'm specifically going to use a case study comparing Montenegro and Canada. So for those of you who are not familiar, top marginal tax rate in Canada, around 50%. In Montenegro, 15%. Typically speaking, in a bunch of other regards, taxes are much better in Montenegro versus Canada. And so one would expect that you're getting something for that money. And today I want to explore what exactly are you getting for that money, and is it worth it? So let's dive in and discuss. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Michael from Offshore Citizen. We are specialists in international tax optimization, international corporate structuring. We help people with relocating to other countries, with getting other citizenships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I have lived in other countries for quite a few years, all over the world, on different continents, et cetera, as well as we've helped clients from 150 different countries. So, quite a bit of places that we can talk on. But today we're going to talk specifically about what happened in UAE when the war started with Iran, okay? So I happened to be in UAE at the time, and I'm originally from Canada. So my first initial passport is Canadian, and my wife is originally from Montenegro. And so her first and original passport is Montenegrin. And so one would expect that what is going to happen in this situation? Well, probably Canada's going to want to help you, right? Montenegro is a small country. There's like 500,000 people approximately, compared to about 40 million people approximately for Canada. And so clearly, more resources in the Canadian side would just seem logical, that this is supposed to be a country that cares for its people, et cetera. So what are the actual results of what happened in that situation? So my wife at the time ended up going and being in touch with the embassies from both countries, from Montenegro and from Canada, okay? And Canada would send very politely worded, encouraging, politically correct emails, which would basically say, hey, listen, you should see about getting yourself out of there. Don't rely on us. You're on your own. That's basically what the message was. What did Montenegro do? Montenegro had a very different approach. Montenegro said, oh my gosh, we're arranging transportation for you out of the country. It is free, by the way, free. We're arranging flights that are free. You can importantly bring your spouse. I say that importantly because of the fact that the US also was helping getting people out, but you couldn't bring your spouse, or if they were a non-American spouse, right? So this is, you could bring family members who were not of the nationality that you were because of your nationality. On top of that, they were saying, listen, if you can't make this particular set of flights that we have arrangements with Croatia, with Serbia, with Bosnia, I can't remember all the countries, but a bunch of the different countries surrounding. And don't worry about it. If you can't make it on this one, we'll arrange for you on one of these others through our partnerships. That's pretty interesting, because it's kind of exactly the opposite of the narrative that people have out there about the world today. I think even somebody who has lived outside of the country, who's worked with clients all over the world for over 10 years now, even though that was the case, I was expecting more of the narrative of a place like Canada to be true, where they would say, okay, yeah, we care about our people, we're gonna help our people, etc. Untrue. Montenegro, I can tell you, prior to this experience, my wife would joke years ago, she would say, oh man, are you kidding me? Montenegro's not gonna take care of you. If you call and say, hey, we're having trouble in this country, they're gonna say, well, you shouldn't be there, But that was not true. That was not the case. The case was quite the opposite. They were very supportive in this regard. And I think that's just a very important testament to the fact that you don't get what you pay for. It's just untrue. That your life is not better because you pay some sort of higher taxes. It's just not true. That these countries that brand themselves as being caring, etc., simply are not, really. And now, granted, you might say, hey, listen, you shouldn't depend on a country. I agree. I didn't use either of those countries' services. You shouldn't depend on a country. That's much better if you can depend on yourself. But I think it's probably eye-opening for a lot of people to realize that things are not as they'd expect. I mean, the US went and created the war, right? Let's be clear. the US created the war. And what happened to the US people? You know, did they have like tremendously wonderful support? They had some support, not none. The US is supposedly, you know, most powerful country on earth with all this military power, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, should be very capable. I mean, you know, they're bringing resources in the area to, you know, go and bomb places. You would think maybe along with that, you could bring in some resources to transport people out of harm's way into someplace safe. And, you know, some support, but not great. By the way, the US, lower taxes than Canada. So I don't know what to say. I think it's pretty, it's interesting to see the realities versus the pretenses. And I think a lot of people for many years would have believed something different and made decisions based on what they believe, and it turns out what they believe is false. So if you're interested in changing your situation, if you're interested in paying less tax, setting up international structures, et cetera, please reach out to us. You can always book a call with me, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer, link in the description below. And I will look forward to seeing you on the next video.